What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you back on the channel. On today's episode, we have a continuation of our fashion brand document how-to series. On a previous episode, we looked at the purchase order, an integral part of starting any order with a distributor or a supplier. On today's episode, we'll look at the commercial invoice. Whether you're a buyer looking to buy from other brands in order to distribute, or you're an actual brand looking to sell on your goods to retailers or wholesalers, you'll need to know how to construct a strong and professional commercial invoice. From the listing of the buyer and the seller, to the payment terms, to actually listing out the goods that are being transacted on and the total amount due, you'll need to know all this information and how to structure it, and this is going to be the episode for you. Hey guys, and welcome to Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. Once the production of your goods has been finalized and your goods are ready to ship out to the buyer, you want to present them with a finalized commercial invoice. Your commercial invoice will want to record what goods have been purchased and what quantities of these goods have been purchased. Ultimately, you'll want to organize your commercial invoice in a professional and accurate way with unparalleled fidelity, because this is going to be used for things like your customs clearance. So it needs to be as accurate as possible to avoid any issues with imports and exports. So now let's get into the actual document itself, what information to include and how to format it. Starting off, you'll always want to register all official documents on company letterhead. Whether you're going to make it yourself or hire a graphic designer, always make sure that official documents are standardized and are presented in a professional way. On company letterhead, you'll want to include things like the company name, your address, and essential contact information. Next, you'll want to include the name of the document. On a previous episode, we discussed the purchase order, so in that case, we had purchase order. In this context, we're going to be issuing an invoice and a commercial invoice at that. There's a difference between the type of invoice that you can issue, whether it's a pro forma invoice or a commercial invoice, and we can get into that in a different episode. But for now, just know that we're issuing a commercial invoice. The first primary segment that you'll want to include in your invoice is the date in which your invoice was issued. It's extremely important to be accurate because a lot of your payment terms will come with a date attached to them, whether it's net 30, net 15. You'll want to know when the invoice was issued so you can follow through on that payment. In this case, we'll say that the invoice is going to be issued on December 1st, 2020. You'll also want to include a unique invoice number. And this differs between company and company in terms of how you structure your invoice numbers, but know that it's important to have a unique invoice number for every single invoice you issue so that you can call back to it and track it over time. Number 2, you'll want to mention the seller's information. In this case, my brand, Spectre LLC, is the seller. We're the ones doing the selling, and let's just say we're distributing to a retailer. So we'll mention that the seller or the consignor is Spectre LLC. Next, we'll want to actually add the name of the contact person. Whether there's a sales manager or an account manager, you'll want to mention them specifically. In this case, we'll put my name as the CEO, Shadi Adada, and we'll add that as the contact person. Next, mention the telephone number of this person or the contact number so that people know who to contact for this order, whether it's an order that gets held up in customs or the buyer needs further clarification. Next, you'll want to mention the address of the company so that you know where to return the goods and ultimately to formalize the payment. In section 3, we have the buyer's information. So let's just say Spectre LLC is selling their goods to Fittdesign. Fittdesign is looking to buy these goods to distribute them in their stores. So in this case, Fittdesign would be considered the consignee. If Spectre as the seller is the consignor, Fittdesign as the buyer is the consignee. And in terms of the information, you'll want to mention the contact person, the telephone number, the email address, and ultimately the physical address. The physical address should be 100% accurate because this is going to be the address used for delivery. Next, we'll need to mention the sales confirmation number. This, again, is a unique number that you'll need to generate, or that is generated for you by the buyer, in order to be able to trace back the sales confirmation at any point in time. Also, you'll need to have the shipping company used and the method of transportation. For example, if you're shipping by cargo using British Airways, you'd mention that this is British Airways cargo. Or if you're shipping by UPS as an Air Express, you'll want to mention that this is UPS Express. If it's by sea freight, mention by sea freight, so on and so forth. At the same time, you'll want to mention when the payment is due. We mentioned in the beginning that there are specific payment terms like net 15 and net 30 that dictate payment dates. So here, if we have a net 30 payment schedule and the date the invoice was issued was December 1st, 2020, then naturally the payment would be due on January 1st, 2021. So lastly, in this section, you'll want to mention the tax number of the buyer. This can either be the VAT ID or the tax number or any other company registration number. And it's extremely important to include this for your customs declaration process. Your goods can actually be held up at ports and can incur high storage fees if you don't include essential information. So make sure to check beforehand what your local customs authority needs. You'll also want to mention the total gross weight of the shipment, which should be calculated beforehand. And lastly, the total quantity of goods being shipped. Now we move into what is considered as the most important part of your commercial invoice. This is a product details sheet or table, best done in Excel, and this is a way to organize your thoughts and the cells as accurately and as professionally as possible. The types of information you'll want to include are definitely your style number. In a separate video, we've done an overview how to structure a style number, but let's just say here in our invoice, we want to include a performance t-shirt run that we did in red, white, and blue. So in this case, we'll have our style number as 2020 fall winter, since we're going to be launching in fall winter, and 01 to represent the performance tee style, and then 01 to represent black, and then another 02 to represent blue, and then a 03 to represent red. Next, we'll move into the garment description, which I've already mentioned is a performance tee, and then we'll move into the unit cost of this item. So this unit cost is going to be, let's just say, $10. You'll also want to mention the quantity ordered, let's just say it's 40, and you'll also want to mention the colorway. The colorways are extremely important because they relate back to your style number. So to recap, it goes your style number, your garment description, the color ordered, quantity, unit cost, and ultimately your total cost. Your total cost per line item is going to be calculated as your unit cost multiplied by the quantity per that color ordered. So for the black colorway, let's just say again, it's $10 per item and we've ordered 100 items, let's just say. Here, we're going to have a total cost of $1,000. And of course, we've ordered 100, 100, 100 for each three of our colors. So we'll end up with 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, and this will give us our subtotal. So our calculations before shipping and handling. Our subtotal here is 3,000, and our shipping by UPS Express is another 1,000. This will give us a order total of 4,000. Obviously, if you have VAT, you'll want to include that. Calculate the percentage of your VAT, and then this will plug into your overall total that's due. Next, you'll have a concise section on your payment terms. At this point, the buyer would have already paid the deposit, and what's due will only be what's left. So this will depend on the credit terms that have been applied on the initial invoice. Whether it's a 25% deposit and a 75% payment, or it's 50-50, this would have to have been mentioned in the initial invoice and would have to be taken into account. Also, pay into attention the credit terms that were applied. For example, let's just say you provided net payment terms of net 30. This means that your payment is due 30 days after the invoice is issued. I've already mentioned this, but it's also important to follow through in your payment terms. And then lastly, let's just say your payment terms include something like a cash on delivery clause. This means that the buyer is only needing to pay once they've taken delivery of the goods. So this should be mentioned in the bottom section of your commercial invoice. and make sure that it's consistent with other documents that you've supplied in regards to this transaction. Following through on the payment terms section, you'll also want to mention the specific type of payment that needs to be made. For example, what's the methodology of the payment that you expect your buyer to make? Is it by cash, bank transfer, credit card, or is it even by PayPal? Be specific and make sure that that is also outlined in your payment terms section. And then last on your commercial invoice is going to be your packing instructions or your packing information. How have you packed your goods? Are you packing them in a plastic poly bag with a swing tag? Make sure to mention that. And then lastly, authorize or signify the authorization of your invoice with a signature, whether it's from your company's CEO, the CFO, or anyone else who's authorized to make these decisions. It's important to seal off the invoice and to make sure that it is been seen by the right people of the company to avoid any issues down the line. That's a wrap, guys. We hope you have a better idea now on how to create a professional and concise commercial invoice. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see others like it, let us know which document you want us to cover next. Thank you guys again so much for tuning into Fittdesign TV, and until next time, stay awesome.